My name is Harper Bennett, and am 29 years old. I was sitting in the back of a taxi, watching the Boston skyline blur past my window, when my phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a text from Mom. I smiled, thinking maybe she was checking if I got Sloan to the airport okay. I opened the message. My smile died instantly. Thanksgiving dinner next week. Just so you know, you're not invited. Only family is coming. Don't make this awkward. I read it again. Then again. My hands started shaking. 2 weeks ago, I had transferred $8,600 from my savings account to help my little sister Sloan move to London. $8,600 I had spent 2 years saving. And now I was reading this. I just spent $8,000 helping her favorite daughter escape. And now I'm not even family? Before we dive into this mess, I need to know something. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your city or country in the comments because I want to know I'm not alone in this crazy world. And if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, hit that like button so I know you get it. Subscribe if you want to hear how this whole disaster played out, because trust me, it gets so much worse before it gets better. Now let me take you back to where this all started. Let me paint you a picture of the Bennett family. There was me, Harper, the oldest daughter. Then Sloan, 3 years younger, the golden child who could do no wrong. Our mom, Patricia Bennett, 56 years old, a retired elementary school teacher with a smile that fooled everyone outside our house. And Dad, Daniel Bennett, who passed away 3 years ago from a sudden heart attack at 54. We lived in a comfortable suburb outside Boston, the kind of neighborhood where everyone mowed their lawns on Saturday and waved at each other from their driveways. From the outside, we probably looked like a normal family. But inside those walls, I learned early that love in our house was conditional, and I never quite met the conditions. Sloan was the baby, the sensitive one, the creative soul who needed extra support. I was just Harper. Dependable, boring Harper who would figure things out on her own. When Sloan turned 16, Dad bought her a cherry red Honda Civic with a bow on top. I remember standing in the driveway in my school uniform, watching her squeal and jump up and down. When I turned 16, Mom handed me a bus pass and said it would teach me responsibility. Sloan went to a private arts high school that cost $18,000 a year. I went to the public school down the street. When Sloan wanted to spend a summer in France at 17, Mom and Dad made it happen. When I asked about a school trip to Washington, D.C. that cost $300, Dad said we needed to be more careful with money. I'm not saying this to sound bitter, even though I was. I'm saying it so you understand this wasn't a one-time thing. This was a pattern that had been built over 29 years, brick by brick, disappointment by disappointment. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college at Boston University. I waitressed at a diner from 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, worked retail from 3 until 9 at night, and did freelance social media management on weekends. I slept about 4 hours a night for 4 years. Meanwhile, Sloan went to a private art college where Mom and Dad covered her tuition, her apartment, her car insurance, and sent her $200 a week for expenses. When I graduated with my marketing degree, I had $43,000 in student loans. When Sloan graduated 2 years later, she had 0 debt and a portfolio full of pretty designs that Shed made on the laptop Dad bought her. I never said anything. What was the point? Dad would just say that Sloan needed more support, that she was more fragile, more sensitive. Mom would say I was always so independent, that I never seemed to need help. The only person who ever saw me, really saw me, was Dad. In those last few months before he died, he started to notice things. He asked me once why I never came to family dinners anymore. I told him I was busy with work. He looked at me with these sad eyes and said he was sorry. I didn't understand what he meant then. I think he was apologizing for all of it, for every time he let Mom push me aside to make room for Sloan. But then he was gone, and I never got to have that conversation. My 18th birthday, Mom ordered pizza and we ate it in front of the television. Sloan's 18th birthday, Mom rented out a restaurant and invited 80 people. There was a DJ, a photo booth, and a cake that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. I showed up with a smile on my face and a gift I couldn't afford, and I watched Sloane glow in the center of all that attention. Nobody noticed when I left early. So yeah, this is the family I came from. This is why when Sloane called me 2 months ago, crying about an opportunity in London, some broken part of me still wanted to help. Some stupid, hopeful part of me thought that maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time, if I showed up for her, she would see me. They would all see me. Sloane called on a Tuesday night in late August. I was in my apartment folding laundry and watching some cooking show I wasn't really paying attention to. Her voice came through the phone in gasps and sobs. "Harper, I need your help. I got a job offer in London. It's an amazing opportunity, a design position at this boutique agency. But I don't have the money to move. I need flights. I need deposit money for an apartment. I need money to survive the first month until I get paid. Mom said she can't help me right now." That last part surprised me. Mom always helped Sloane. Always. But I didn't question it. I was too busy feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Needed. My little sister needed me. I asked her how much. She did the math out loud, her voice shaking. Flights would be around $1,200 for a one-way ticket and checked bags. The apartment deposit was $3,500. She needed about $2,000 for furniture and kitchen supplies, and another $1,900 to live on for the first 2 months while she waited for paychecks to start. I did the math in my head. $8,600. I had $9,200 in my savings account. I had been saving for 2 years to maybe buy a car, or take a real vacation, or just have a safety net for once in my life. I sat there on my couch with a dish towel in my hands, and I thought about saying no. I should have said no. But Sloane was crying, saying this was her chance to start over, to build something of her own. She said Mom couldn't help and she had nowhere else to turn. She said I was the only person she could count on. So I said yes. I went to the bank the next morning and transferred $8,600 to Sloane's account. She called me immediately, crying again, but this time with joy. "Harper, you're saving my life. I'm going to pay you back, I swear. You're the best sister in the entire world. I love you so much." I felt good. I felt like I had done something that mattered. For the first time in my life, I was the hero of Sloane's story. Not just the background character who showed up and left without anyone noticing. We spent the next 2 weeks planning. I helped her book flights, research neighborhoods in London, make lists of what to pack. I took a day off work to drive her to the airport. Mom didn't come. She sent a text that morning that just said, "Good luck, sweetheart," with a heart emoji. At the airport, Sloane hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. She was crying into my shoulder, telling me again how grateful she was, how she would never forget this. I watched her walk through security, dragging 2 huge suitcases, turning back to wave at me one more time before she disappeared into the crowd. I drove home with my gas tank on empty and my bank account down to $600, but I felt lighter than I had in months. I thought I had finally done something right. That feeling lasted exactly 14 days. I was at my desk at work when my phone buzzed. It was a Wednesday afternoon, the kind of boring middle-of-the-week day where you're just counting down to the weekend. I was working on a presentation for a client meeting, highlighting product demographics, or something equally mind-numbing. I glanced at my phone and saw Mom's name on the screen. I figured she was checking in, maybe asking how work was going. I opened the message without thinking twice. "Thanksgiving dinner next week. Just so you know, you're not invited. Only family is coming. Don't make this awkward." I stared at the screen. I read it 3 times. Then I read it again. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. This had to be a mistake. Maybe she sent it to the wrong person. Maybe her phone got hacked. Maybe I was hallucinating from too much coffee and not enough sleep. I tried calling her. It rang 4 times and went to voicemail. I hung up and tried again. Voicemail again. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I sat there at my desk with my heart pounding in my chest, trying to figure out what I had done wrong. Had I said something to upset her? Had I forgotten some important family event? I went through the last few weeks in my mind. Every conversation, every text message. Nothing. I had been busy with work and helping Sloane prepare for London. I hadn't seen Mom in person in about 3 weeks, but we had texted. Normal stuff. How are you? Fine. Hope you're having a good day. Nothing that would explain this. I needed answers. I couldn't call Mom again because clearly she wasn't going to pick up. So I called my Aunt Emily, Mom's younger sister. Aunt Emily was always the reasonable one, the one who stayed out of drama and just wanted everyone to get along. She answered on the second ring. Harper, honey, how are you? Her voice was cheerful, which somehow made everything worse. I asked her if she knew about Thanksgiving dinner. There was a pause. Oh, honey, I thought Patricia told you. My stomach dropped. So it wasn't a mistake, Aunt Emily explained, her voice getting quieter and more uncomfortable with every word. Mom was hosting Thanksgiving dinner next week. She had invited Aunt Emily, Uncle Michael, Grandma, Cousin Brett, and his wife, and a few other extended family members. 12 people total. Everyone except me. Aunt Emily said Mom told her I was too busy with work to come anyway, so she didn't bother inviting me. I told Aunt Emily that Mom never asked me. Mom never mentioned Thanksgiving at all until that text message telling me I wasn't welcome. There was a long silence. Then Aunt Emily said something that made my blood run cold. Your mom also mentioned that Sloane is going to video call during dinner so everyone can see her new place in London and she can be part of the celebration. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. So Sloane, who was 4,000 miles away, was invited to Thanksgiving. But me, who lived 20 minutes from Mom's house, was not family enough to sit at that table. I asked Aunt Emily why. What did I do? Why would Mom do this? Aunt Emily stammered and said she didn't know, that maybe it was just a misunderstanding, that she was sure we could work it out, but I could hear it in her voice. She knew something I didn't. She knew this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was intentional. I thanked her for telling me the truth and hung up. Then I sat at my desk in my little office cubicle with fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and I cried. Not quiet tears. Full-on sobbing that I had to muffle with my hands so my coworkers wouldn't hear. I left work early. I told my boss Jennifer that I wasn't feeling well, which was true. I felt like I was going to throw up. I drove home in a daze, barely paying attention to the road. When I got to my apartment, I opened my banking app. Account balance, $647. 2 weeks ago it had been $9,200. I had given Sloane $8,600. I had emptied my savings to help her start a new life. And now I wasn't even invited to Thanksgiving dinner. I thought about all the times I had shown up for this family. All the birthday parties I attended with a smile plastered on my face. All the times I had bitten my tongue when Sloane got things I never got. All the years I had spent trying to be good enough, helpful enough, quiet enough. And it still wasn't enough. It would never be enough. I wasn't family. I was just Harper, the convenient daughter who showed up when needed and disappeared when not. I spent the rest of the evening lying on my couch, staring at the ceiling. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call Mom and demand an explanation. But a bigger part of me already knew the explanation. This was who she was. This was who they were. And I had been fooling myself for 29 years thinking it would ever be different. Around 7 that evening, I worked up the courage to text Mom. I kept it simple. Mom, is this a mistake? Am I really not invited to Thanksgiving? I watched the 3 dots appear and disappear for what felt like an eternity. Finally, a response came through. Harper, this is a small, intimate gathering. Well, do something another time. Another time. Like I was a dentist appointment that could be rescheduled. I texted back, but I'm your daughter. The response came faster this time. Don't be dramatic. You're always welcome here, just not this particular dinner. I stared at those words. You're always welcome here, just not this particular dinner. I typed out my next message with shaking hands. I just gave Sloane $8,600. The message showed as read immediately, but no response came. I waited an hour. Then 2 hours. Nothing. She read it and decided it wasn't worth responding to. That told me everything I needed to know. That night I didn't sleep. I just lay in bed, staring at the dark ceiling, wondering how I had become so invisible to the people who were supposed to love me most. 3 days passed. 3 days of me trying to process what had happened, trying to make sense of a situation that made no sense. I threw myself into work because it was easier than thinking about the fact that my own mother had uninvited me from Thanksgiving. Then, on Saturday afternoon, my phone rang. It was a video call from Sloane. I almost didn't answer. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to make her wonder why I wasn't picking up. But I answered anyway because that's what I always did. I showed up. Sloane's face filled my screen, bright and happy in her new London apartment. "Harper! Oh my God, I'm so glad you picked up. I've been wanting to show you the place." She flipped the camera around and started giving me a tour. The apartment was small but nice. Hardwood floors, big windows, exposed brick. She was talking fast, excited, showing me the kitchen, the little bedroom, the bathroom with the rainfall shower. I should have been happy for her. Instead, I felt numb. Then I heard another voice in the background. A British accent. "That's your sister? The one your mom said couldn't make it to Thanksgiving because she's not close to the family?" The camera swung wildly as Sloane spun around. A girl with short purple hair appeared in the frame. Sloane's new roommate, Fiona. Sloane's face went pale. "Fiona, that's not," she started, but I cut her off. "What did you just say?" Fiona looked confused, glancing between Sloane and the phone. Your mom told Sloane you couldn't come to Thanksgiving because you're not close to the family," I thought. Sloane frantically ended the call. The screen went black. I sat there on my couch, phone in hand, staring at my own reflection in the dark screen. So Sloane knew. Sloane knew I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving, and she didn't tell me. She didn't defend me. She didn't even think to mention it. My phone buzzed with a text. "It's not what you think. Call me back." I texted back immediately. "Call me now." 30 seconds later, my phone rang again. Sloane's voice was shaky, defensive. "Harper, I swear I didn't know Mom would phrase it like that to Fiona. She said you were too busy with work anyway." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "But you knew I wasn't invited." There was a pause. "Yes, I knew." "When?" I asked. "When did you know?" "Last week. Mom told me when she called to ask about video calling into dinner." Last week. Sloane had known for a week that I was excluded from Thanksgiving, and she hadn't said a word. I asked the next obvious question. "And you didn't think to tell me? You didn't think I deserved to know?" Sloane sighed. That particular sigh that meant she thought I was being difficult. "Harper, I didn't want to get involved in family drama. This is between you and Mom. Not my problem." Those words hung in the air. Not my problem. I had just given this girl $8,600, and my exclusion from our family was not her problem. I pushed forward, my voice getting louder. "Did Mom really say she couldn't help you with money?" There was a long silence. "Sloane, answer me. Did Mom actually say she had no money to help you move to London?" Another pause. Then quietly, she said she'd rather save it for emergencies. The floor dropped out from under me. "So she had money. She had money but told you to ask me instead." Sloane's voice got defensive. "I didn't ask you to help, you offered." That was technically true, but it felt like a slap in the face. "I offered because you said you had no other options. You said Mom couldn't help." "I didn't lie," Sloane shot back. "Mom said she couldn't help. That's what I told you." I was about to respond when I remembered something. 2 weeks ago, my Aunt Emily had posted on Facebook. I opened the app while still on the phone with Sloane and scrolled through Emily's photos. There it was. A picture of Mom standing next to a brand new silver Lexus, beaming at the camera. The caption read, "Patricia's new ride. She deserves it." The post was dated 3 weeks before Sloane asked me for money. I felt like I was going to be sick. "Sloane, Mom bought a Lexus last month. A $45,000 car. She had $45,000 to buy a car but she couldn't give you money to move?" Sloane went quiet. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Then she said something that made me realize I didn't know my sister at all. Maybe if you weren't so bitter about Mom's choices, you'd be invited to Thanksgiving. I couldn't speak. I literally could not form words. Sloane continued, her voice getting sharper. You've always been jealous of me, Harper. Everyone sees it. Maybe that's why Mom didn't want you there. Maybe she's tired of your attitude. I finally found my voice. What did you just say? But Sloane was done. I have to go. Well, talk later. The line went dead. I sat there in my apartment, alone, with $647 in my bank account, uninvited to Thanksgiving, and apparently the villain in a story I didn't even know I was part of. I had given my sister everything I had, and she had just called me bitter and jealous. I opened my laptop. I needed to understand what was happening. I needed to see if I was crazy. If I was really the problem everyone seemed to think I was. I couldn't sleep that night. Sloane's words kept replaying in my head. Bitter. Jealous. Maybe that's why Mom didn't want you there. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling until 3 in the morning, then gave up and made coffee. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, and that's when I remembered something. When Sloane was applying for jobs in London, she had created a shared Google Drive folder so I could help her organize documents and review her resume. I had completely forgotten about it until that moment. I opened Google Drive and scrolled through my shared folders. There it was, Sloane London Move. My cursor hovered over it. Part of me knew I shouldn't look. Part of me knew that whatever I found would only make things worse. But I clicked anyway. The folder opened. Inside were her resume, cover letters, interview notes, and one file that caught my eye. London Budget Plan.xlsx, an Excel spreadsheet. I opened it. The first column was labeled Income/Funds. I scrolled down. Personal savings, $6,200. My heart started beating faster. Company relocation package, $4,000. I stopped breathing. Mom contribution, $3,500. Transferred Sept. 3rd. The room started spinning. September 3rd. That was the exact day I had transferred $8,600 to Sloane. Mom had given her $3,500 the same day I had emptied my savings account. I kept reading, my hands shaking so badly I could barely control the mouse. The next column showed expenses. Flight, $1,100. Apartment deposit, $3,500. Furniture and supplies, $1,800. Living expenses first 2 months, $1,900. Total expenses, $8,300. But according to the income column, Sloane had $6,200 in savings, $4,000 from her company, and $3,500 from Mom. That was $13,700. Sloane had $13,700 before I gave her a single penny. She didn't need my money. She had never needed my money. I sat back in my chair, feeling like I had been punched in the chest. She lied. She had looked me in the eye. Well, through the phone, and lied. She told me Mom couldn't help. She told me she had no money. She cried and begged and made me feel like I was her only option. And I had believed her. I took screenshots of everything. The budget spreadsheet, the bank transfer note showing Mom's contribution, the company relocation package offer. I saved them all to a folder on my desktop. My hands were still shaking. I needed to know why. Why would Sloane take my money when she didn't need it? I opened my email and started typing. Subject: I know everything. Sloane, I have access to the Google Drive folder. I saw the budget spreadsheet. You had $6,200 saved. Your company gave you $4,000 for relocation. Mom gave you $3,500 on the same day. I transferred $8,600. You had $13,700. Why did you take my money? I attached the screenshots and hit send. I watched the email sit in my outbox, then switched to sent. I stared at my inbox, waiting for a response. 1 hour passed, then 2, then 6. Finally, at 2 in the afternoon, a reply appeared. Subject line. I know everything. I opened it with my heart pounding. Harper, I can explain. Can we talk on the phone? I replied immediately. No. Explain in writing. Another hour passed, then another email. I wanted a safety net. London is expensive and I didn't know if the job would work out. I thought having extra money would help me feel secure. You have extra money, I typed back. You have over $5,000 extra. Why did you need mine? The response came faster this time. I didn't think you'd mind. You're always so responsible with money. I figured you had plenty saved up, and you offered. I didn't force you. I had to read that sentence 3 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. She didn't think I'd mind. She thought I had plenty saved up. I typed slowly, trying to keep my anger contained. I gave you everything I had. I have $600 left. I can't afford groceries for the rest of the month, and you took it knowing you didn't need it. Sloane didn't respond to that email. Instead, my phone rang 20 minutes later. It was Mom. I answered because I was stupid enough to think she might be calling to apologize, to explain, to make any of this make sense. Harper, why are you harassing your sister? That's how she started the conversation. No hello, no how are you? Just an accusation. I'm not harassing anyone, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I just asked Sloane why she lied to me. Mom's voice was cold, sharp. Sloane called me crying. She said you're demanding your money back and threatening her. I felt like I had stepped into an alternate reality. That is not true. I never demanded anything back. I just asked why she lied about needing money. Mom cut me off. Harper, you've always been jealous of Sloane. Ever since you were kids. You can't stand to see her happy. I laughed, actually laughed, because the accusation was so absurd it didn't even feel real. Jealous? I just gave her $8,600. That's not jealousy, Mom. That's me trying to help my sister. Mom's voice got even colder, which you're now holding over her head. That's manipulative behavior, Harper. Classic manipulation. Give something and then use it as leverage. I felt tears starting to form, but I pushed them back. I'm not holding anything over anyone's head. I just want to understand why she took money she didn't need while I was left with almost nothing. Mom sighed. That exhausted sigh that meant she was done with this conversation. We're going in circles. Sloane needs space from this drama. I suggest you take some time to think about your behavior. Then she hung up. I sat there with the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to dead air, and I realized something. They were rewriting history. Right in front of me, they were creating a new version of events where I was the villain, where I had given money and then cruelly used it as a weapon, where I was bitter, jealous, manipulative, and no matter what evidence I had, no matter what truth I told, that was going to be the story they told everyone. That was going to be the version of me that survived. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Aunt Emily. Harper, honey, we need to talk. Call me when you can. I called her immediately, still in my pajamas, coffee brewing in the background. Aunt Emily answered on the first ring, and her voice had that careful tone people use when they're about to tell you something you don't want to hear. Harper, I heard what happened with Sloane. I'm concerned about you. I felt my defenses go up immediately. What did you hear? Aunt Emily hesitated. Patricia called me last night. She told the whole family about the situation. She said you gave Sloane money and now you're trying to use it against her, that you're having some kind of breakdown and attacking Sloane for no reason. I closed my eyes. Of course she did. Aunt Emily, that's not what happened. Let me explain. But before I could say anything else, Aunt Emily said something that made my stomach drop. Harper, there's a family group chat. Everyone's been talking about it. A family group chat I wasn't in. Obviously. I asked her what they were saying. She sighed. Do you really want to know? Yes, I said, even though I absolutely did not want to know. Aunt Emily started reading messages out loud. Your mom wrote, Harper is having some kind of breakdown. Shay's attacking Sloane for no reason. I'm worried about her mental state. Uncle Michael responded. Always knew that girl had issues. Guess it finally came out. My cousin Brett wrote, Maybe that's why she's still single at 29. Can't maintain healthy relationships. Aunt Emily stopped reading. There's more, but you get the idea. I did get the idea. My entire extended family thought I was crazy, bitter, and unstable. And I had no way to defend myself because I wasn't even in the conversation. I tried calling my grandmother, the family matriarch, the one person I thought might listen to reason. Grandma was 87 years old but sharp as ever. She answered after 5 rings. "Harper, honey." Her voice was warm but cautious. "Grandma, please listen to me. I need to tell you what actually happened." I started explaining everything. The money, the lies, the budget spreadsheet, Mom's new car. But halfway through, Grandma interrupted me. "Honey, your mother said you're going through something difficult right now. I think you need to apologize to Sloan and move on. This family drama isn't good for anyone." "Grandma, I'm not going through anything except realizing my family has been lying to me." Grandma sighed. "I'm too old for this drama, dear. I just want my family to get along. Work it out with your mother." Then she hung up. I tried calling Uncle Michael, straight to voicemail. I tried calling Cousin Brett. The call wouldn't go through. He had blocked my number. In the span of 24 hours, I had been painted as the villain and shut out of every family relationship I had. But it got worse. That afternoon, I was scrolling through Facebook, torturing myself by looking at family members' profiles, when I saw that Mom had made a post. A public post. I clicked on it, and my heart sank. Prayers needed for my family. Dealing with a difficult situation with one of my daughters who is struggling with jealousy and control issues. Please keep Sloan in your thoughts as she navigates this toxic behavior from afar. Please respect our privacy during this time. The post had 67 likes and 34 comments. I scrolled through them, each one feeling like a knife. "Oh, Patricia, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. You're such a good mother. Some children never appreciate what their parents do for them. Praying for you and Sloan. Stay strong. Sending love and prayers. Family is so hard sometimes. Your daughter is lucky to have you." I felt sick. These were people who had known me my entire life, people who had watched me grow up, and they were all accepting this narrative without question. I commented on the post. "This is not the full story. Mom, please tell the truth." Within 5 minutes, my comment was deleted. I tried to comment again. This time I wrote, "I'm happy to explain my side, if anyone wants to hear it." That comment was also deleted. Then I got a notification. "Patricia Bennett has blocked you." I couldn't see her profile anymore. I couldn't comment. I couldn't defend myself. I had been erased. But the damage didn't stop at Facebook. 2 days later, I was called into my boss Jennifer's office. "Harper, can you close the door and have a seat?" My stomach dropped. Jennifer folded her hands on her desk and looked at me with concern. "I received a call yesterday from Barbara Chen at Lincoln Elementary." My blood went cold. Barbara Chen was a teacher who used to work with my mom in the same school district. They had been colleagues for 15 years, Jennifer continued. "Barbara mentioned she's concerned about you. She said she heard from your mother that you're going through some personal issues and might be unstable. Harper, I need to know if there's something going on that might affect your work." I wanted to scream. Instead, I took a deep breath and explained everything. The money, the lies, the exclusion from Thanksgiving, the family group chat. Jennifer listened, her expression neutral. When I finished, she nodded slowly. "I appreciate you being honest with me. I don't think this will affect your work, but I need you to keep your personal life separate from professional contexts." The fact that Barbara called me is concerning. I understand it's not your fault, but please be aware of boundaries. I nodded, feeling humiliated. My own mother was trying to sabotage my career. She was calling my professional contacts to spread rumors about my mental health. This wasn't just about Thanksgiving anymore. This was about destroying my reputation so thoroughly that no one would believe my side of the story. That night, I sat in my apartment and realized the full scope of what was happening. I had been cut off from my family, blocked on social media, and had my professional reputation questioned, All because I had the audacity to ask why my sister lied to me. All because I had discovered I was being used and manipulated. The punishment for seeing the truth was complete isolation. I spent 3 days in a fog. I went to work, came home, and sat on my couch staring at nothing. My best friend Mia finally showed up at my apartment unannounced on Friday night with Thai food and wine. She took one look at me and said, "Okay, tell me everything." So I did. I told her the whole story from beginning to end. Mia listened without interrupting, her expression getting darker with every detail. When I finished, Mia set down her wine glass and looked at me seriously. "Harper, this is insane. You know that, right? This is genuinely insane behavior from your family. You need to fight back." I shook my head. "What's the point? No one will believe me." Mia grabbed my laptop. "Have you checked Sloane's social media lately?" I hadn't. I'd been too depressed to torture myself with Instagram. Mia opened it up and started scrolling. "Look at this." There on Sloane's Instagram story from 2 days ago was a photo of her at an expensive-looking restaurant in London. The caption read, "Living my best life in Shoreditch. Thank you, universe, for this opportunity." No mention of me. No thank you to her sister, who made it possible. Just gratitude to the universe. Mia kept scrolling. "And look at this post from last week." It was a photo of Sloane holding a designer handbag. I recognized it immediately. A Celine bag. I knew because I had looked at that exact bag online once and nearly fainted at the price. $2,400. Mia turned the laptop to face me. "She's spending your money on designer bags while you can barely afford groceries. Do you see the problem here?" I saw it, of course I saw it, but seeing it and knowing what to do about it were two different things. Mia wasn't done. "You have evidence, right? The Google Drive folder?" I nodded. "Show me everything." We spent the next 2 hours organizing evidence. Bank statements showing my $8,600 transfer. Screenshots of Sloane's budget spreadsheet proving she had money from 3 sources. Screenshots of Sloane's email admitting she wanted a safety net. The text from Mom uninviting me to Thanksgiving. Screenshots of Mom's Facebook post calling me toxic. Mia helped me create a document. We organized everything chronologically with clear labels and explanations. "This is solid," Mia said. "You have proof of everything. What are you going to do with it?" I looked at the document, pages and pages of evidence that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't the villain. "I'm going to send it to everyone. Every single family member. They can believe Mom's story, or they can look at the facts. But at least they'll know I tried to tell the truth." That night, I drafted an email. I kept it professional, calm, and factual. No emotion, just information. The subject line was, "The truth about what happened with evidence." I wrote, "I understand many of you have heard a version of recent events from my mother. I'm writing to provide you with the full story, supported by documentation. I'm not asking for apologies or even for you to take sides. I just want you to know the truth before you judge me." I attached the full document with all the screenshots, then I sent it. To Aunt Emily, Uncle Michael, Grandma, Cousin Brett and his wife Emma, and every other extended family member I had an email address for. 15 people total. I hit send and immediately felt like I was going to throw up. But it was done. The truth was out there. Whether anyone chose to believe it was beyond my control. I closed my laptop and tried to sleep, though I knew I wouldn't. The next morning, my phone started buzzing. The first email was from Aunt Emily. Subject: read the truth about what happened. "Harper, I had no idea. Patricia told us something completely different. I'm so sorry I didn't ask for your side first. Can we talk?" Then Uncle Michael. "Harper, this is concerning. I apologize for the things I said in the group chat. I should have given you a chance to explain." Then Cousin Brett. "Wow. I feel like an idiot for what I wrote. I'm really sorry, Harper. This isn't okay." By noon, I had received responses from 10 of the 15 people I'd emailed. All of them apologetic, all of them saying they hadn't known the full story. All of them expressing shock at what Mom and Sloane had done. But there were 2 people who hadn't responded at all. Mom and Sloane. Complete radio silence. I checked my email obsessively all day. Nothing. They had seen the evidence and chosen not to acknowledge it. That told me everything. On Sunday afternoon, Aunt Emily called me. Harper, I need to tell you something. I hesitated before saying this, but you deserve to know. Patricia has done this before. My heart stopped. What do you mean? Aunt Emily sighed. Years ago, before you were born, your dad had a sister, Aunt Cheryl. She and Patricia had a falling out over money. Cheryl lent Patricia $5,000 and Patricia never paid it back. When Cheryl asked for it, Patricia turned the whole family against her, told everyone Cheryl was greedy and manipulative. Cheryl eventually stopped coming to family events. We haven't seen her in over 20 years. I felt cold all over. So this was a pattern. This was something Mom had done before and gotten away with. Aunt Emily continued. I should have said something earlier. I should have warned you. But I thought maybe things were different now. I'm sorry, Harper. I thanked her and hung up. I sat in my apartment looking at all the evidence spread across my coffee table, and I understood something fundamental. This wasn't about money. This wasn't even about Thanksgiving. This was about control. Mom needed to be the center of every narrative. Anyone who questioned her, anyone who saw through her, had to be destroyed. And I had committed the ultimate sin. I had asked questions. 3 days before Thanksgiving, I woke up to my phone exploding with notifications, text messages, missed calls, emails. My first thought was that something terrible had happened. Someone died. There was an emergency. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and started reading. The first text was from Cousin Brett's wife Emma. Harper, check Instagram right now. Sloane's story. I'm so sorry. What? I opened Instagram and went to Sloane's profile. She had posted to her story at 3 in the morning London time. The first slide was a selfie of her at what looked like a club, clearly drunk, with the caption, "People think I'm broke but I'm literally sitting on 18K right now, Elma ooh." My hands started shaking. The second slide was another photo, this one showing Sloane and her roommate with drinks. The caption read, "My sister is so gullible, I can't even." The third slide was a photo of Sloane holding that Celine bag I'd seen before. Caption, "Treat yourself, babe." I felt like I was going to be sick. She had posted this publicly. Sloane had gotten drunk and told the entire internet that she had scammed me. But the posts were already gone. I checked the timestamp on Emma's text. She had sent it 45 minutes ago. Sloane must have woken up, realized what she'd done, and deleted everything. But it was too late. Emma had screenshots, so did other people. My phone rang. It was Aunt Emily. Harper, I saw the screenshots. Brett's wife sent them to the family group chat. Everyone has seen them. What family group chat? The one you're not in, remember? Well, Patricia just added you. Check your messages. I opened my messaging app and there it was. Family group chat. 43 unread messages. I scrolled up to see the chaos. Emma had sent the screenshots with a message. This is from Sloane's Instagram story this morning before she deleted it. I think we all owe Harper an apology. Aunt Emily had written, Patricia, explain this. Uncle Michael had written, this is disgusting behavior. I can't believe we fell for this. Grandma had written, I want to talk to both Patricia and Sloane immediately. This is unacceptable. And Mom had written, those screenshots could be fake. Anyone can Photoshop things. This is just Harper trying to turn you all against Sloane. But then Brett had responded, I saw them on Instagram myself before Sloane deleted them. They're not fake, Patricia. And I owe Harper a massive apology. One by one, family members started commenting, backing me up, apologizing, expressing shock and disgust. Mom tried to defend herself and Sloane, but no one was listening anymore. The evidence was too clear. Sloane had confessed to scamming me, in her own words, on her own Instagram. There was no way to spin this. Then came the message I'd been waiting for but not expecting. Aunt Emily wrote, Patricia, I think we need to cancel Thanksgiving. Half the family is saying they won't come after this. Uncle Michael wrote, I'm not coming. I won't sit at a table and pretend this didn't happen. Brett wrote, Emma and I are out. Grandma wrote. If this dinner happens, it will be without me. I cannot support this behavior. One by one, people canceled. Out of the 12 people originally invited, 10 said they weren't coming. Mom tried one last time. You're all being ridiculous. This is family. We should be supporting each other, not turning on each other over money. But Uncle Michael shut that down. Patricia, this isn't about money. This is about you lying to all of us and manipulating us into attacking Harper. This is about Sloane taking advantage of her sister and then bragging about it online. This is about behavior that's completely unacceptable. I'm ashamed I believed your version without question. The final message in the chat came from Mom. Fine. Thanksgiving is canceled. I hope you're all happy. Then she left the group chat. I sat there staring at my phone, watching the messages continue to pour in. People apologizing to me, expressing their shock and disappointment, asking how they could make it up to me. It felt surreal. 24 hours ago, I was the family villain. Now the truth was out and the people who had actually wronged me were being held accountable. But I didn't feel victorious. I just felt tired. My phone rang. It was Sloane calling from London. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. I picked up. Before I could say anything, Sloane started crying. Harper, I'm so sorry. I was drunk. I didn't mean those things. I didn't mean to post that. Her voice was desperate, panicked. I stayed silent, waiting. Please, you're ruining my reputation with the family. Everyone's mad at me now. Everyone thinks I'm a terrible person. I finally spoke. You are a terrible person, Sloane. You lied to me, took my money when you didn't need it, and then bragged about scamming me to your friends online. That's who you are. Sloane's crying got louder. But you're my sister. I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, I said calmly. A mistake is forgetting someone's birthday or saying the wrong thing in an argument. This was calculated. You planned this. You and Mom both planned this. Sloane changed tactics. I'll pay you back. I'll transfer the money right now, all of it. Just please tell the family this was a misunderstanding. I laughed, and it sounded bitter even to my own ears. I don't want your money anymore, Sloane. Keep it. Buy more designer bags. Live your best life. Sloane's voice got desperate. Then what do you want? What do I have to do to fix this? I thought about that question. What did I want? An apology? I had one, but it meant nothing. The money back? I didn't want it anymore. It was tainted. I want you and Mom to leave me alone, I said finally. That's what I want. Stop calling me. Stop texting me. Stop involving me in your drama. I'm done. Sloane tried to argue, but I hung up. Immediately, she tried calling back. I declined the call and blocked her number. Then I blocked Mom's number too. It felt like dropping a weight I'd been carrying for 29 years. Aunt Emily called me the day before Thanksgiving. Harper, I know this has been an awful week for you. Would you like to come to my house for Thanksgiving? Just a small gathering. Me, Michael, your grandmother, and a few close friends. Nothing dramatic. I almost said no. The idea of sitting at any family table after everything that had happened felt exhausting. But then I thought about spending Thanksgiving alone in my apartment, and that felt worse. Okay, I said. Thank you for inviting me. Aunt Emily's voice was warm. Of course, honey. Your family. Real family. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up and decided to do something I'd been avoiding. I called my best friend Mia and asked if she wanted to come with me to Aunt Emily's. Then I called 2 coworkers I was close with, Jenna and Marcus from the marketing department. Both said yes immediately. Aunt Emily said the more the merrier. So Thanksgiving ended up being me, Mia, Jenna, Marcus, Aunt Emily, Uncle Michael, Grandma, and 3 of Aunt Emily's neighbors who didn't have family nearby. 11 people total around a table filled with food. It was nothing like the Thanksgivings I grew up with. There was no tension, no silent competition for Mom's attention, no feeling like I needed to make myself smaller to make room for Sloane. Instead, there was laughter. Real laughter. We told stories, played board games after dinner, and when Grandma stood up to make a toast, she looked directly at me and said, "I'm grateful for second chances. I'm grateful that I got to see the truth, and grateful that Harper is giving us another chance to be real family," I cried. Not sad tears, but tears of relief. This is what family was supposed to feel like. Safe, warm, genuine. Aunt Emily hugged me in the kitchen while we were doing dishes. "I'm proud of you," she said, "for standing up for yourself, for not backing down when everyone turned against you. That takes real strength." I hugged her back and realized something. I had spent my whole life trying to earn love from people who were never going to give it. But here, with this group of people who chose to be in my corner, I had something better than blood family. I had real family. The day after Thanksgiving, I got a text from Mom. I had forgotten I hadn't blocked her on this messaging app, only on my phone. "Harper, we need to talk about repairing our relationship." My therapist finger hovered over the message. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but another part of me needed to respond, needed to have the last word. I typed back, "I'm listening." Her response came fast. "If you apologize to Sloan and drop this whole thing, we can move forward as a family. Put this behind us." I read that message 3 times. Apologize. After everything that had happened, she wanted me to apologize. I typed slowly, carefully. "Apologize for what, Mom? For discovering the truth? For asking questions? For refusing to be scapegoated?" There was a long pause. Then, "For embarrassing us in front of the family. For making private matters public. For refusing to let this go." I felt that familiar surge of anger, but this time it was clean, clear, righteous. I typed my final message to her. "Mom, I didn't embarrass you. You did that yourself. I didn't make private matters public. Sloan did that with her Instagram story. And I'm not refusing to let this go. I'm refusing to let you rewrite history and pretend I'm the villain. You chose to exclude me from Thanksgiving. You chose to lie to the family about me. You chose to support Sloan taking money she didn't need. Those were your choices. And now you have to live with the consequences. I'm done apologizing for things I didn't do. I'm done trying to earn love from people who were never going to give it. Have a nice life, Mom. I'm choosing myself." I hit send, and then I did something I should have done years ago. I blocked her on every platform: phone, email, social media, messaging apps. Every possible way she could contact me. Gone. And it felt like breathing for the first time in my life. Over the next few weeks, I started therapy. I found a therapist named Dr. Rahman, who specialized in family trauma and narcissistic family dynamics. In our first session, I told her everything. She listened, and then said something that changed my perspective. "Harper, this was never about you. You could have been perfect and it wouldn't have mattered. Your mother needed a scapegoat and you filled that role. The only way to win that game is to stop playing." I started to heal. Real healing, not just surface level moving on. I went to therapy every week. I started journaling every morning. I joined a yoga class. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected because I was too busy dealing with family drama. And I focused on my work. 3 months after Thanksgiving, I got promoted to senior marketing manager with a significant raise. My boss Jennifer pulled me aside after the announcement and said, "You've really come into your own these past few months. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." I also started dating again. I met someone named Alex at a coffee shop. Alex was an architect, funny and kind, with no drama and no hidden agendas. On our 3rd date, Alex asked about my family. I gave the short version. "We're not close anymore. It's complicated." Alex nodded and said, "Family doesn't have to be blood. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose." I fell a little bit in love right then. 6 months after Thanksgiving, I was genuinely happy. Not pretending, not faking it until I made it, but actually happy. I had a job I loved, friends who supported me, a relationship that felt healthy and real, and peace. Real peace. I hadn't heard from Mom or Sloan in months, and that silence felt like a gift. But then I heard through Aunt Emily that Sloane had been fired from her job in London. Attitude problems, Emily said. She burned through all her money and had to move back to the States. She's living with Patricia now. I didn't feel bad for her. I didn't feel vindicated either. I felt nothing. And that was its own kind of freedom. A week later, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Harper, it's Sloane. I got a new number. Can we talk? I need your help. I read the message and felt absolutely no urge to respond. Instead, I blocked the number and went back to my life. I texted Mia. Sloane just asked me for help. Mia responded immediately. What did you say? I wrote back, nothing. I said nothing. And that felt perfect. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to engage. Let them spiral without you. Let them face the consequences of their own actions without you there to cushion the fall. I had spent 29 years being the person everyone could count on to show up, to help, to sacrifice. Now I was showing up for myself, and I wasn't sorry about it. A year after that Thanksgiving text message that changed everything, I was sitting in my new apartment overlooking Boston Harbor. I had moved 6 months earlier into a place twice the size of my old apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a balcony. I could afford it now with my promotion and the raise that came with it. My savings account had $12,000 in it. I had rebuilt everything I'd lost, and then some. But, more importantly, I had rebuilt myself. Alex was in the kitchen making dinner, singing off-key to some song on the radio. We had been together for almost a year and had just celebrated our anniversary with a weekend trip to Maine. It was the healthiest relationship I'd ever had. No games, no hidden agendas, no manipulation. Just two people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company and chose each other every day. I heard Alex call out, "Dinner's almost ready. You want to eat on the balcony?" I smiled. Yeah, that sounds perfect. I was setting the table on the balcony when my phone buzzed. A text from Aunt Emily. Just wanted you to know that Patricia asked about you today. She wanted to know how you're doing. I think she misses you, even if she won't admit it. I stared at the message for a moment, then typed back. That's nice. I hope she's well. Aunt Emily responded, Do you think you'll ever want to reconnect? I thought about that question. Honestly, I wrote back, I don't know. Maybe someday. But I'm not ready yet, and I don't know if I ever will be. That has to be okay. Aunt Emily sent back a heart emoji. It's absolutely okay. You get to decide what your boundaries are. That's healthy. I set my phone down and looked out at the harbor. The sun was setting, turning the water golden. In the past year, I had learned so many lessons the hard way. But they were lessons I needed to learn. I grabbed my journal from inside and started writing while Alex finished cooking. Lesson 1. You cannot buy love or approval from people who don't want to give it. I had spent $8,600 trying to prove I was worthy of my sister's appreciation and my mother's acknowledgement. But worthiness isn't something you can purchase. Either people see your value or they don't. And if they don't, that's their loss, not your failure. Lesson 2. Family is about behavior, not biology. The people who shared my DNA had hurt me more than any stranger ever could. Meanwhile, Mia, Alex, Aunt Emily, and the friends I'd chosen had shown me what real family looks like. Family is who shows up. Family is who stands by you when everyone else walks away. Family is chosen. Lesson 3. Setting boundaries is not cruel. It's necessary. I had felt guilty about blocking Mom and Sloane, about refusing to engage, about protecting my peace. But boundaries aren't walls meant to keep people out. They're gates meant to let the right people in. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is say no to people who only bring chaos. Lesson 4. Other people's perception of you is not your responsibility. My family had painted me as bitter, jealous, and mentally unstable. For a while, that haunted me. I wanted to control the narrative, to make everyone see the truth. But Dr. Rahman taught me something crucial. You can't control what people think of you. All you can control is your own integrity. Live your truth and let the rest fall away. Lesson 5. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Sloane's drunk Instagram story had done what months of my explanations couldn't. It had revealed the truth in a way no one could deny. I hadn't had to fight or argue or defend myself. The truth had simply emerged on its own. Bad behavior eventually exposes itself. You don't have to do anything except step back and let it happen. I wrote one final entry in my journal. I spent 29 years trying to be enough for people who would never see me. I twisted myself into shapes I didn't recognize, sacrificed things I couldn't afford to lose, and apologized for existing in ways that made them uncomfortable. The moment I stopped trying, the moment I chose myself, I became free. Alex came out onto the balcony with 2 plates of pasta. I closed my journal and smiled. This looks amazing. We sat down to eat, watching the lights start to twinkle across the harbor. Alex looked at me and asked, "You okay? You seem thoughtful." I nodded. "I was just thinking about everything that happened last year." "Do you ever regret it?" Alex asked. "Cutting them off?" I thought about that question seriously. Sometimes I regret giving them so many chances, but cutting them off? Never. Alex reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You're brave." I squeezed back. "I'm not brave. I'm just done being small to make other people comfortable." We finished dinner as the stars came out. Later that night, I stood on my balcony alone, looking at the Boston skyline. I thought about the girl I used to be. The one who would have done anything for scraps of approval. The one who measured her worth by how useful she was to people who didn't value her. That girl was gone. In her place was someone stronger. Someone who knew her value. Someone who understood that walking away from toxicity wasn't giving up. It was growing up. I thought about Mom and Sloane sometimes. I wondered if they ever thought about me, if they ever felt remorse for what they'd done. But mostly, I didn't think about them at all. They had become characters in a story I used to live, a chapter I'd closed and moved on from. That's the thing about healing. It's not about forgiveness or reconciliation or fixing what's broken. Sometimes it's just about accepting that some things can't be fixed, some people won't change, and your peace is more important than their comfort. My phone buzzed one more time that night. A text from an unknown number. "Harper, this is your mother. I got a new phone. We really need to talk." I stared at the message for a long moment. A year ago, I would have responded immediately, would have gotten pulled back into the drama, would have tried one more time to make them understand. But I wasn't that person anymore. I blocked the number without responding. Then I went inside, climbed into bed next to Alex, and slept peacefully. Because I had learned the most important lesson of all. You don't owe anyone access to your life. Not your mother, not your sister, not anyone. You get to choose who sits at your table. And some people simply don't deserve a chair. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to cut off family members for your own mental health? Have you ever been the scapegoat in your family? Drop your story in the comments below because I want to hear from you. I want you to know you're not alone. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Seriously, it helps more than you know. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more real stories about family drama, toxic relationships, and finding yourself after everything falls apart. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's struggling with family issues and needs to know that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. I want to thank you for listening to my story. I know it was long and probably brought up some feelings for a lot of you, but I needed to tell it, every part of it, because someone out there needs to hear that you can walk away. You can choose yourself. You can build a beautiful life without the people who hurt you. And you don't have to feel guilty about it. So wherever you are right now, whatever family situation you're navigating, I hope you remember this. You are enough. You are always enough. And the people who can't see that don't deserve you. Take care of yourself, protect your peace, and know that the best family is the one you choose. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.